Hey guys, what's up? Oh, dude, I didn't think I'd get that screwed up from freaking heat exhaustion, but I am toast. But hey, welcome to the Space and Rocket Review. Sorry for being a little late. I am like out of it right now, but it's okay. I gotta go get my water real quick. I'll be right back. I need some ice cold water. There we go. You have a bit more color. Yeah, not doing as bad as I was a second ago, man. Dude, I gotta find a way to be able to like take all this heat energy and do something with it, man. This garage, I'm convinced that this building at this point in time is violating some laws of thermodynamics and is just actually a superconductor of heat. That was a joke. It's not, but it is 79 degrees outside, and somehow this building is retaining 10 degrees of temperature. Somehow. The garage door is open, and yet it's still warm. Mini split. I might have to divert some funds for the split. But yeah, I'm going to look into that over vacation. This is ridiculous. Yeah, we got to rope that into the coronet budget, I think. Okay. Yeah, to catch some heat stroke. I probably should have waited to work on the car until tomorrow. We'll finish up all that tomorrow. And maybe finally we can put that stupid rear cross member in. Maybe. Are you feeling better though?
Yeah. This is space. I'm in space.
Fluffy. Come on now. Come on now. Just needed MGUH. Dude, if I could just... Yeah, if we could just pull the heat out of the air and, like, store it, like, convert it to electricity and store it in a battery or something, that would be really nice. Because, man, all I'm thinking is, like, just sitting here thinking, like, dang, dude, that's just a lot of wasted energy. You know? Yeah, find some damn solar panels. Is it just me, or is your mic distorting? I don't know. It might be just you. You might have had heat. You might have heat stroke like I did. Maybe you did. Maybe you did. Maybe you're just imagining it. Maybe it's all in your head. You might be drunk. Nah, if there is any weird feedback with the thing, it's probably because of the fans. Nope, nope, and nope. Sure you're not drunk? All right, so let's get into space news. We got a compilation video from ULA here about the KAO2 mission. So let's pop into that. Let's start there.
Rock, report range status.
Range green.
Status check.
Go Atlas.
Go sector. Go.
Probably can't play that music. Very nice. Just imagine some rocket noises right here. Oh, yeah. Very good. What the hell does... What are you talking about, Aqualux? What does that have to do with anything? I think you just get drunk from eating food. Okay. Nice. Sweet. You may be drunk and not know it.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hater! Whoop whoop! 33 months. Thanks, man. Yeah, if the mic's screwing up, it's just fans, dude. It is... You know... The heat wasn't bothering me up until I had heat exhaustion and had to go lie down. You know, now I'm like worried about it, not for the equipment, but for me too. I want to see it one more time. Nice. Cool. Real good. So yeah, we got some... ULA's been posting some pretty nice footage. Some of that we saw yesterday, but still pretty dang cool. I think the payload door didn't open because the ship was spinning. What? Could a solution for the problem with the payload bay door on Starship be pressure equalization once the ship is on orbit? What did the shuttle do? It has holes in the payload bay. Yeah, the space shuttle had holes in it. They were on the top, they weren't near the windward side. But there's vents inside of the shuttle. Here, I'll find a picture here. Let me show you. Now, places like the aft orbiter segment we usually purged out with like nitrogen or something. But the shuttle has the payload bay vents there on the sides. See them right there? There's a couple of them. One is closed and one is open in that picture for whatever reason, but let me see if I can find you a better one. Yeah, there they go. 1, 2, 3. See them right there? There's vents. So the pressure drops. So all the air basically drains out. Starship is probably going to need one of those. Were they able to pressurize the shuttle bay doors to have astronauts floating in there without EVA suits? No. Payload bay is not airtight. You don't need a payload bay door when the ship explodes. I mean, okay. Will the V3 ship have a Pez dispenser or a shuttle-style door? I think it would behoove SpaceX to develop a version of Starship that just has shuttle payload bay doors. Because then no matter what you're doing, right? And once again, this is just taking pages out of the shuttle. And this isn't just me hoping like that, you know, oh, I want another space shuttle. Like, the space shuttle had... So you could have a Starship with payload bay doors. And on the outside of Starship's payload bay doors, you could put solar panels. And then on the inside, like the shuttle, you put radiators, right? When a Starship is on orbit, guys, at any particular given point in time, right? You'd want, and the shuttle did this too, and SpaceX will learn this too. You want your tiles facing the sun, right? So you can manage temperatures in the vehicle. The shuttle pretty much, I mean, it doesn't mean that you can't, but for the most part, when the shuttle's on orbit, they kept the tiles, the bottom side of it, facing towards the sun as it went around Earth. So, like, it would go around Earth like this. You know? They did stuff like that because the tiles are really good. The tiles are already good at absorbing heat, right? So Starship is probably going to have to do the same thing. Now, with Starship, you could open up payload bay doors, right? And you could have solar panels on the backside of them. So, because Starship needs to hold its tiles, well, theoretically, if Starship is holding its tiles towards the sun, having solar panels there would be a good idea. Having radiators on the backside is an even better idea. And then you can put whatever the heck you want in your payload bay. You could put whatever. Yeah, anything you want. You could put a crew tank in there for colonization. You could put a Pez dispenser in there. You don't have to, like, once again, the shuttle's payload bay design is quite good. It's really good for what it is. Like, there was so much good stuff that came out of this thing. So many things that, like, okay, like, I mean, the big obvious one is tiles, right? There's so many innovations that came out of this damn thing that, you know, you could really, Starship could really, like, they should go raid the shuttle operations manual and look at it. Not copy it, but once again, the payload bay doors in the shuttle is a great idea. I mean, the shuttle didn't have solar panels on the outside of its payload bay doors, though, because even if you deployed the payload bay doors, there's still a wing in the way. Starship doesn't have that problem. I was asking when the V3 renders came out, there was no Pez dispenser. I think the Pez dispenser payload bay door, Matt, is very much an interim thing. I think most of V2 at this point is an interim thing. That means exposing the tiles to micrometeorites too, no? MMOD stuff happens. What do you mean? How is pointing it towards the sun any more dangerous than not pointing it towards the sun? So many things have been figured out. Why reinvent the wheel? Bingo. Like, what I would really like to see as a space shuttle fan is some of this technology not, well, be a technological dead end, because there's really a lot of good tech in here that still is applicable to spaceflight, especially like the payload bay. Like, payload bays are a good example. Why not copy it? Taxpayers paid for the shuttle. Well, Epic's, you're not gonna, SpaceX isn't gonna copy the space shuttle outright. They don't have the same goals as the shuttle program. But yeah, Starship will have to have a positive pressure vent for its payload bay. It's gonna have to. And I'm not really understanding why SpaceX doesn't opt for a completely modular design, right? If you want Starship to be basically a theoretical cargo plane that goes to Mars, right? I mean, Elon has compared it to like a 747, right? I'd say it's more like a C5. Can a C5 carry people? Yeah. Can a C5 carry cargo? Yeah. You do either one. A 747, now don't get me wrong, a 747 can still hold cargo, but you're limited in cargo size when you're moving people and cargo. You know? Does that mean like a 747 cargo, you couldn't put seats back in it? No, you probably could. I mean, that would be a lot of work, but you probably could. I mean, maybe SpaceX is looking to build more one-off kind of bespoke versions of Starship, like they said they wanted to make a people mover variant, right? But you got to think like, okay, you're going to need a lot more cargo variants than you're going to need people variants, so you might as well design around the cargo bay and have the human rated version be, have the human rated version just basically be the cargo bay with a crew tank inside of it. Like the shuttle. That's where I think that, the shuttle really had it right with how they set up the payload bay. That was really smart. Do you ever hear about Starship Enterprise Edition? I don't know what that means. Why do we never return to the spaceplane concept? Space planes left a bad taste in everybody's mouth after Challenger and Columbia. More like a C-17 because you like C-17s. Yeah. What about a human Pez dispenser? Well, they call that an airlock. Starship is kind of a space plane. It's just vertical takeoff, vertical landing. But they're thinking that they'll be building so many that they don't need the flexibility in any one particular starship. They'll just rattle one off to fit the need. Yeah, in many regards, it's kind of like a 747 cargo conversion versus just a 747. Like, I think that's what they're trying to do. And if that's the case, then yeah, your cargo version, there would be some commonality, but your cargo version would differ. So does Starship have a better glide ratio than the Space Shuttle? Glide ratio. No, not really. No, the shuttle's probably better. The shuttle will fly better. The shuttles fly better than Starship. The reason why is because they need to fly better to land horizontally on a runway. Starship does not need to do that, which is why it has these tiny little winglings on the sides. They call it Enterprise Edition. Check this.
The first footprints on the moon in more than half a...
What's this? Let's take a look. See.
And coming soon to a moon base alpha near you, Starship Enterprise Edition.
That is so exciting, and all the advancements that are going to come in order to enable all of that.
I remember watching this, and I remember laughing at how funny this picture looks. Modified HLS for a sustainable stay on the
Over
moon.
for their descent. Once on the lunar surface, they'll ride the elevator down in their Axiom EMU spacesuits from Axiom Space and leave the first footprints on the moon in more than half a century, kickstarting humanity's mission to establish a sustainable presence there. And coming soon to a moon base alpha near you, Starship Enterprise Edition.
That is so exciting, and all the advancements that are going to...
Yeah, this Enterprise Edition seemed to be a more passenger-suited variant, which is pretty cool.
On the lunar surface.
So yeah, it seems like they're not going to put in the modularity of the shuttle's payload bay. It seems like they're just going to make more bespoke one-off variants. Similar to like how, you know, there's a DC-10, right? Passenger plane. And then there's the MD-11 cargo plane, right? And then there's the KC-10 refueling plane. They're kind of all the same thing, but they're not. But they kind of are, but they're not. The fan is blowing my green screen out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you want the Enterprise Edition to make it back successfully to be put in a museum. I don't know. I don't think those things are... I think those things would be doing that. Interesting. Either way, I mean, we'll, we'll talk more about that later. When do you think they'll begin stacking HLS? I think HLS is being worked on right now, Trey. I just think we can't see it. So, as you guys know, Ship 36 did blow up the other day, and part of it, the Massey's test stand is right on the Mexican. It's right on the Mexican border. When does MSC start? I don't know. 8. Something like that. Soon-ish. What was I doing? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mexico wants to sue SpaceX. The president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, said she wanted to sue SpaceX because part of Starship landed in Mexico. Yeah. She threatened legal action over falling debris and contamination from Elon Musk's SpaceX rocket launches across the border in the United States. Well, that wasn't a launch, so just saying. Just give a discount to Mexican companies that want active satellites. It's all so tiring, man. I don't know. Threatening legal action for an economic driver inadvertently for your country. That's weird. I mean, how many people have gone up there? How many people have, you know, taken a vacation up to Brownsville, right? And gone through Mexico, right? And, you know, bought stuff on the border there. Like, you know, how many people did this bring to Matamoros, right? Or Matamoros, excuse me. You know, how many people are coming up here and buying a hotel in Matamoros, right? Or, you know, crossing the border and coming back, buying souvenirs, staying in a hotel there, filling up with gas because of the Starship program. It's just... No. We're going to sue you. And just... I don't know. SpaceX owns the land on the other side of Massey's. You can see it cleared in satellite images. So this sounds like just another politician blowharding. Good, cool. Not news then. Next news. Isar Aerospace raises 150 million euros. German launch vehicle startup Isar has raised 150 million euros in the form of a convertible bond from an American investor. Okay. Isar announced on June 25th that it received funding from Eldridge Industries, a Miami-based company that invests in a variety of industries, including technology. Putting industries in the name of your venture capital firm does not make it an industry. The investment is in the form of a convertible bond, a debt instrument that can be converted into equity into the company. Isar said that funding would support work to expand launch capabilities and series production facilities at its headquarters in Munich. We are catering to the rising global demand for satellite launches and provide global markets and governments with independent and flexible access to space, said Daniel Metzler, the chief executive of Isar. This investment demonstrates strong confidence from global markets in our efforts to build a new space champion. Why would we want to know that information, Ryzen? Okay, but no joke, you're showing signs of mild heat stroke. Are you okay? I'm very tired. Dude, yeah, like I've never had the meat suit quit like that before. It was just like, nah, I'm not doing this. I'm alright, dude. I lied down for a little bit. Got some electrolytes. Brother, you look cooked. It is hot as balls in here, dude. I did 14 hours yesterday in here at 89 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 31°C. I am, as the kids say, cooked. And then I did 3 hours in the garage today, welding, with the welding jacket on. And I'm pretty sure I had heat exhaustion. But I'm alright, dude. Fine. You might get a little salty, EJ, today for the rest of this stream. Yeah, that's what I did, Steve. I only got like 3 hours of sleep. Yeah, Rep, maybe. Okay, Dabbledub, what do you got? The angry astronaut doesn't believe Starship will ever land on the moon, much less Mars. If he's right, isn't there still a robust and purposeful space program without Starship HLS? The angry astronaut thinks that? You know, Dabbledub, I've noticed this about certain spaceflight pundits, and I don't have anything against Angry Astronaut. I don't know the guy. I've never watched one of his videos. I don't know. I know he comes up with some spicy takes for things, but so do we. You know? I find it very funny that people think they can predict the future. I see this with a lot of spaceflight pundits, like, oh, well, they'll never get past this point. They'll never get past this point. They'll never get past this point. No, this is the thing that is going to screw them. Guys, I don't know about you. Like, and once again, it would be important to get context, but, and this is where Salty EJ is going to come back. How the hell do you know the future? You don't know the future. As long as it's not violating any laws of physics, why do you think it can't be done? That's really funny to me. That's why I always err on the side of optimism. Because what? We're just gonna look at this new awesome thing and say, no, that'll never work. That kind of cynical, half-assed mentality is how we got to this point in the first place in the space program. You know, anytime somebody, over the last 40 years, anytime NASA rolled out something even remotely innovative, someone said, that'll never work, and then they scrapped the program. I can count multiple occasions. Space Station Freedom, right off the bat. The original space transportation system. There you go. And by proxy, Space Station Freedom. DCX. Venture Star. Dream Chaser. Yeah, Dream Chaser is Sierra Space. That was supposed to be a NASA thing. The X-38 crew return vehicle. The X-34. I could go on and on. That kind of horse crap mentality, that kind of horse shit mentality is an easy fucking way to look at things. That's a really easy way of looking at that. That's easy and cheap. There's a cheap way of looking at things. Anybody can be a doubter. All right? Anybody can. This is the thing. They're never going to be able to do this. And then you notice how when SpaceX actually goes and does it, oh, but those people just, oh, well, you know, that's not exactly what I meant. Now shut the hell up, dude. It's so easy to doubt. It's so easy. And it's ridiculous. I see it all the time. This is the thing that's going to get them. No, it's not. Shut the fuck up. You don't know anything. Ugh. How many subs do I have to gift? 5? I'll give 5. I'll just start clicking down the list. Swear jar, you know? No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have sworn as much. I'm just not doing good today. Look, that's so easy. It's so easy to doubt. It's such a safe opinion to play.
Oh, this is space. I'm in space.
Because even SpaceX, even Elon admittedly says there's a very high probability of failure. All right? That's the safe bet. That's the safe way of looking at things. All they're doing is playing the safe freaking bet to get views and have it appear as controversial. That's bull crap, dude. don't like, and once again, I got nothing against angry. I just see people pontificate like this all the time. It's so goddamn annoying. Like, you know, it's easy. It's easy to say that they're gonna fail. That's easy. And it's just such a lukewarm opinion, man. I can't deal, like, it's just, sorry, I didn't mean to go off, guys. Like, I'm bastioning, you know? Sorry, I didn't mean, I got a little spicy there for a second. I gotta calm down now. Axiom 4 dock, it has not docked yet.
This is space. I'm in space.
You know, Daveldot, it's just such a safe opinion to have. You know, me personally, I would never bet against American ingenuity. That's what I'm saying, dude. It's so easy to do that. It's so easy to be a doubter. It's so easy to say that this is the thing that's going to get them. I don't do that crap. I've never done that crap. Because, I mean, even now with the Starship program, nope, it'll never be able to do that. It'll never be able to do that. Like, how screwed up in the head do you have to be to look at this company that's funding this project? It's a multi-billion-dollar freaking project, something akin to like a Manhattan Project, or at least another Apollo program, right? That's being privately funded by the richest man in the freaking world. Like, you know, like, it's weird to me that people look at all that and say, nope, they're screwed. I know, like, yeah, bullshit. Whoops. Whoops. Sorry. Oh, somebody gifted a sub to EJ for president. Like, I don't know, Daveldot. I don't appreciate thinking like that, man. It's it's so easy. That's such an easy opinion to have. Like when Rogozin said we would need a trampoline for our own flights. Exactly, Formic. How stupid does he look now? You know, and because the information in this day and age comes at us so ridiculously fast, we forget. We forget that people said this stuff. Dude, I've been wrong about things. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I'm not perfect. I'm not an aerospace engineer. I give you guys points of view on things. I try to teach you the facts as best as I can. If I'm giving an opinion, I'll say it's my opinion, and if I'm wrong, I'll tell you. I was very wrong about Starship going out of the VAB. I thought that was going to happen. I was very sure, and I thought Falcon 9 would move to Slick 37. Well, I was way wrong about that. I don't care. It's not about being wrong and right. But, you know, like, I like teaching people about this stuff. But, you know, just be careful about that with content creators, dude. Just be careful about that. Because being negative and doubting, that's an easy opinion to make. It's an easy thing to make. And if you set that as kind of your base and you try to write like, try to make content based off of that, all the other content's really easy. It's really easy to make because you're basing off doubting, which is, you know, like I said, Elon has said that this is a hard thing to do. The odds of failure are high, but you'll improve that over time. So that's, like I said, it's very easy to say that. And I don't like it. I don't like people that do that kind of stuff. Starship's goal is to get people to Mars. It's to land on Mars, and they have a $2.4 billion contract with NASA to land one on the moon twice. You know, now, if you want to make the argument that they won't get that done on time, sure. But once again, that's another easy thing to say. That's a really easy thing to say. Of course it's an easy thing to say. You know, how many aerospace projects are on time? You know? You get spicy and the subs roll in. Can't see me. Most of those are me gifting subs because that's my new swear jar thing. But anyway, Daveldot, that's bullcrap. That is bullcrap. That's not happening, man. What? Oh, it's never going to land on Mars? The only...
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Like, how can you look at the hardware at Starbase and be like, yep, these guys are choke artists? How can you do that? How can somebody look at Starbase at the Star Factory and be like, no, these guys aren't cooking. They're gonna be cooked. Like, how can you do that? That's hilarious to me. I just don't get it. Like, I don't understand. Yeah, Billy, that's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying that that's an easy opinion to have. It's easy to say that this isn't going to work. It's easy to say that that isn't going to work. It's real easy to say that that one over there isn't going to work. It's real easy to say that this was a failure. That is a lukewarm point of view. You cannot conduct yourself in the aerospace industry with that attitude. No one will work with you. You have to go, you have to be optimistic about this stuff, right? You have to be, as a fan or working in the industry. If you're not, you're gonna fail. Like, you will fail. Like, I just never understood being a doubter like that, you know? Now, don't get me wrong. I have my doubts about certain programs and stuff, but I'll always try to say why. Like, it's a pretty good reason, but I'm never gonna doubt, like, dude, I didn't even doubt Astra. I still don't. After their rocket flew sideways off the pad, I was like, they'll be fine. You know why? Because to this day, Astra's still one of the only private companies in the world that's moved something into orbit. Not many people can say that. You know, they'll be fine. I mean, they're cooking. They've been cooking for a while. And Astra's just an example. I'll always err on the side of optimism, you know? I just don't like being negative about stuff because that's easy. That's an easy opinion to have. And it's, yeah, I see it a lot. And, you know, like, oh, well, this guy doesn't think, Angry Astronaut doesn't think they're going to land on Mars and the moon. Dude, that's the whole point of the program. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, what are you even trying to say? Like, what kind of lukewarm take is that? Yeah, of course. It's easy to doubt. Sure. They just got started on the third layer of gravel and geotextile for the Gigabay. Yeah, baby, dude. Yeah, baby. The New York Times says it would take millions of years to have a flying machine, and then the impossible happened 9 weeks later. Yeah, Matt, that's right. There's an article from 1903 in the New York Times that says that, oh, we're never going to be able to fly. We'll never be able to generate that kind of power. And then the Wright brothers did. You know, don't bet against human ingenuity. That's disgusting behavior. Like, why would you do that? Hey, Aaron, what's going on? How are you? I'm dealing with a little bit of heat stroke right now. If you haven't seen, like, I look like a pile of crap right now, but that's, yeah. Sorry. Like, and don't get me wrong, guys. I don't mean to go piss an Angry Astronaut's cornflakes, dude. I'm not trying to be mean. That's an easy opinion to have. That's real easy. It's real easy to say that's not going to work. All right? Pessimism is not just easy, it's lazy. Anyone can spout off about how something can fail. You got to work to figure out how it succeeds. Bingo. Yes. That's what I'm saying, dude. Be careful of content creators that say that nonsense. They're just suckering you into having a terrible opinion about things. Speaking of interesting developments, the hot staging ring entered Mega Bay 1 this morning. That is a little curious, T-Man. I'm not sure what SpaceX is cooking up. But, like, you know, dudes, it's funny because here, let me give you another example about this. I've said many times to never bet against Blue Origin. Even before New Glenn launched. Why would you do this? People say, oh, well, they haven't launched anything into space. And even now, the same people are like, oh, well, they've only launched one thing into space. Dude, they launched the third biggest rocket, like, in existence, and it made it on the first try. Have you ever go on Google Earth and look at Kennedy Space Center Visitor. Go just south of Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex, and you'll see a gigantic facility. What do you think? Blue Origin just built that for fun? You think they just built that because they, you know, want to just dabble in this whole spaceflight thing? You'd be crazy to think that they're not going to do something awesome in space. You'd be out of your freaking mind. Like, How can you not, like, how can you what are you talking about, dude? There's like a multi-billion-dollar facility made here. There's like a gigantic factory. And then in Huntsville, they have another gigantic factory where they make BE4s and they're mass producing them. And then there's another gigantic factory in Kent, in Washington State. Like how can somebody look at all that and be like, they'll never land a booster? Like, what are you dumb? Are you crazy? Right? Like clearly Blue is scaling really hard up. They're scaling up real hard, and that's why we haven't seen much from them, because they're scaling. Same with ULA, you know? Some people thrive on Schadenfreude. Yeah. Envy never built anything. That's what I'm saying. It's easy to have that opinion. I try never to do that. Some days I'm not perfect. Some days I do go a little angry astronaut. With NASA, it's frustrating at times. Like, I'm not perfect in this regard, but just be careful of that kind of stuff, dude, because that's just going to ruin your day. It's just going to ruin your day. Sorry, Daveldot, I didn't mean to go off, you know, but sorry, and maybe I'm just a little more candid than usual, but Astro has a well-defined market. It's not really being met with current launchers. That's right. Say Starship will take millions of years to land on Mars, so it happens in 9 weeks. Yeah, right. That'd be nice. You look fine. Yep. I had to wear gloves today because it was cold out. Fun fact: San Francisco Bay is the world's largest smug exporter. Oh yes, you have it with the fine Chianti. Man, a good reference. You know, anyway, sorry, Baron Seer last. What's up? Want to see something funny? Show this to people that say Starlink won't ever make money. This is one branch of Starlink. What is this? This is coming from Sawyer Merritt. Revenues at Elon Musk's Irish-based Starlink almost doubled to 693 million. Dude, and that's it. No, not only, that's another good example. When was this? This was today. That's another good example of what I'm talking about, man. It is a hell of a way to look at this. Look at this guy that's the richest guy in the world that is privately funding an Apollo-era space program, and it's cash flow positive. How can someone look at that and be like, nope, they'll never do it? Like, bro, are you on drugs? Like, what's the matter with you? You know, like, what? I don't understand. Now, once again, I'm saying this without watching Angry Astronaut. Like, I don't know that dude. I don't know him. He's clearly a good content creator. And once again, I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's just, think about that, dudes. There's a lot of people out there with opinions like this that are spaceflight pundits, and I frankly just can't stand that behavior. It really just, it drives me up the wall, because, you know, if you're out there and you work in the industry and you're watching this, you don't need to chime in or anything, guys. Like, first of all, hi, I appreciate it. You know, you can't act like this. You can't be like that. You can't be like, no, it's not going to work. You'll absolutely, the only thing you're going to ensure by having that kind of mentality is that it will fail. I don't know, Geek. I don't know if it's that. I don't know what's going on, dude. It's just, you know, like, I'll give you another example. There's Tesla. I'm not the biggest Tesla guy. I'm not an EV dude. That's not really my thing. EVs are cool, and I like them, and I respect them. I've never, ever said once that full self-driving is not going to work because I don't like EVs. That will never happen. You'd be out of your mind to think that the relative navigation systems in the Teslas are eventually, they're not going to work. They learn, and they get better over time. Yet we still see people on X posting a picture of, oh, my robotaxi stepped on the brakes, or my robotaxi went too fast, you know, down a residential street. I see this all the time. Like, people look at that and be like, yeah, it went too fast down this one street in this one instance, or it stepped on the brakes too hard on this one street in this one instance. Robotaxi will never work. Are you out of your mind? It's a relative navigation system that's self-learning. With AI backing behind it. It has to learn. It will get better. And it has. Like, and I'm not even a Tesla guy. I don't even like EVs, but I'm not denying reality here, you know? I'm not even that big of an EV fan. I don't like that Tesla is not right to repair. But that I'm not going to deny facts to either, you know? These look like the detonation suppression system water tanks installed at Pad B. You got something from Julia here? Ooh. Oh, yeah, baby. It's all coming together. I was also surprised at how quickly he's giving up on Starship. He makes some good points. No doubt, Skyhooking. I know, like, dude, I've never watched Angry Astronaut. I know he's not an idiot. Like, he's a smart dude. I know he's a smart dude. You don't get invited into the place that he's gone to in some of his videos and be a moron. You know what I mean? Like, I know he's smart. I'm just saying that's kind of lazy, dude. And don't get me wrong. I'm not. There have been times where I've been lazy with my analysis about stuff, too. It happens. That's content creation, but just at the end of the day, you just can't be like that, dude. With you on Robotaxi, negativity is doing your head in. Pat, I saw one time on X. I was zooming around. Don't get me wrong. X is not your finger on the pulse for like objective reality. It's the internet. I get it. People do stuff for views. I know. I'm on the internet all the time, right? Terminally online, but like. You know, this is a little hyperbole, a little bit of an exaggeration on my part. But it's like, I drove my Tesla into a brick wall. I drove my Cybertruck into a brick wall. It's not as tough as Elon says. Yeah, because you drove it into a brick wall, dude. You drove it into a brick wall. That would ruin most cars. It's like, I hit my Cybertruck with a wrecking ball that's designed to destroy skyscrapers. Nah, looks like it's not as tough as Elon says. Like, bro, what are you doing? Stop. Stop it. It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? Where are your parents? Where are your parents? Like, interesting, man. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't hate on Waymo either. Like, you know, and I'll be 100% honest with you. And like, once again, I'm not a big Tesla guy. Like, I like internal combustion engines. You guys know that. I have a bunch of them sitting in my yard. Like, hello. But it's funny to me because, you know, like, LiDAR is not a bad way to do that. But I personally like relative navigation. I think relative navigation is the way to go. Because that is the closest analogous. It's the closest analog that you can get to somebody driving the car. You know? And in that, Robotaxi and full self-driving is going to emulate humans. It's going to emulate human driving behavior. And they have a massive data cache of everyone that's driving a Tesla around. And they've sold millions of these things. And now, don't get me wrong, Waymo with LiDAR and sensors, that could work too. That's not like, there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? Like, I personally think relative is better. And the Waymo looks like it has a bunch of blisters on it. The Tesla does not. It looks like it has a disease. It has all the sensors and everything all over it. It looks like a Borg. See, last for context, just braking would have been too late. What's that? The best example for self-driving I have is a reel that I've seen. Tesla crashed into a car in another lane inside of a city because it detached last second. It detected a kid at the last second running on the street from behind two cars. The Tesla avoided hitting the kid and went into another car instead. That's what a person would have done. The big thing is LiDAR can see through fog. Visual only just needs to slow down. But that's what a person would do. Can't see me? That's what I mean, dude. It's the closest to like you or I driving a car around. Would they? Yeah, actually, Geek, probably not. Let's say an experienced driver. Like, if I had a choice between busting two kids off of a scooter, right? Or smashing into another car, I'm smashing into another car. Or just the MJ solution. Frick them kids, you know? Like, why not both relative and LiDAR? Mm-hmm. The U.S. should have multiple redundancies for getting into space. Haven't heard much about Starliner recently. Starliner is not launching again until 2026 per Boeing, dude. And Dabbledot, to answer your question, sorry, I went off on a rant. I didn't actually answer your question. Do I think Starship and Starship will land on the moon and Mars? Okay, so I'm going to play on the opposite of what Angry Astronaut said. So he said they're never going to be able to do it. And this is the difference between how I think and, like, I don't know, maybe I was dropped too much as a kid. It's possible, right? Like, that's totally, maybe it nicked me, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like, maybe it's possible. What is preventing Starship from landing on Mars? What is preventing? Is there anything within the confines of physics that would prevent landing a Starship on Mars? Like, see, I don't go, no, that'll never work, and then try to prove it. I say, yes, that will work. What could potentially hamper you? I'm like, it's additive reasoning versus subtractive reasoning, I guess. Like, the question was, if SpaceX can't, let's say they just vanished as a company, what are the alternatives? Well, that was the other question, Aqualex. No, you're confused. I was answering his first question, not his second question. I got to experience FSD a few weeks ago, and to be honest, it almost saw more than you. Yeah. Like, yeah, exactly. Innocent until proven guilty. Like, instead of guilty, proven innocent, Panda. That's how I think. Like, will not do that. Like, that's kind of important. That could turn into a cynical rant, and that would be proving the point that I'm actually trying to make. And don't worry about it. Like, what is preventing Starship from landing on Mars? What's preventing that? The tiles? I'm not going to say that SpaceX doesn't need a little bit more tile data at this point, but, you know, I mean, if they can get that to do that, I'd say it's a pretty good case for actually, yes, being able to land, right? Boil off would be something that they have to figure out. Is that insurmountable? No, absolutely not. Long-term cryo fuel storage for landing burn during the 3 to 6 months coasting phase. Header tanks. As long as they're in the shade, Baron. And the header tank, last time I checked, is inside of the ship, except on ship 36. It's not, am I right? It's on the ground over there. No, if you have cryogenic fuel that's shielded from the sun, right, on a thermal insulator, or, well, vacuum is a great thermal insulator. What's the problem here? Is that an insurmountable thing? Hell no. Yeah, there's some of it there and over there and over there, and tried to pick some of it up with a crane the other day. That didn't end well. I heard nobody, like, I heard a guy got hurt, but everybody, like, he'll be all right. Yeah, some of it landed in Mexico too, right? Plague Incorporated. Matt, yeah. Now, Devil Dud, that's what I mean. That's the right way to think about it. That's how somebody in the industry, that's how an engineer would think about it. Not, oh, I have to walk up this mountain. You know, like, or I want to get up there. How am I going to do it? You know what I mean? Not, oh, what I'm trying to do is over there and I have to go get it. No. I want to be up there. How do I get there? Do you see the difference? That's inherently how I try. That's where I get my points of view from. It all goes back to that. Like, I'll get, you know, Davido, this is still your first question. I'll answer the other one in a second. Like, okay, second thing. I'll give you another example about how I think about things. I was very optimistic that they're just going to rebuild massives. How did I get that point of view? Did somebody tell me about it? No. I don't like getting information from people in the industry, and I know a lot of people in the industry, and I purposely say don't tell me this. I don't want to. That screws with my analysis, and that's a good way to be able to discern truths from news reported as opposed to not, right? I don't work in the industry, but I'm going to try to make sure that I can analyze stuff correctly to make sure that, you know, my analysis is right, which is, once again, it's kind of what you do as an engineer. But like, okay, put yourself in SpaceX's shoes. Ship 36 just blew up. You're trying to achieve a high flight cadence. You don't want to stop the production lines. You don't want to do that. You're still a little ways out from Block 3. Block 3 is still being made. It's still being made, but it'll get to a point where the Block 2 stuff is just sitting around. So it's in SpaceX's best interest to rebuild Massey's quickly, right? Build it quickly, test Ship 37, test Ship 38, Flight 10, Flight 11, go. I mean, I don't know if you call it Flight 10 with Ship 37, whatever, right? Get the next 2 ships out. And that'll give you time to slow cook Block 3 with all the fixes that you learn from Block 2, which, well, I said this on Flame Trench. I don't necessarily think Block 2 is a bad design. I think Block 2 was implemented because of the stakeholder. Block 1 did not achieve stakeholder expectations, so they made modifications to the ship to make it do that. Those modifications ultimately needed some refining, right? So Block 2 isn't a design flaw, it isn't a failure, because a design flaw goes against iterative design principle. There's no design flaw, because failing is succeeding in iterative design. I know that sounds ridiculous, right? Like, the only failure is when you don't learn something from. When you're running a hardware-rich space program like SpaceX is doing. So, you got a hardware-rich space program. Your test stand just popped. That is a critical bottleneck item. That thing needs to get rebuilt as quickly as possible to get Ship 37 out of there, to get Ship 38 out of there. Heck, they might even expend the next couple of Super Heavies. We might not see another catch until a Pad B launch. It's possible. Got to make room there, because Block 3 is coming down the production line. It's in the Star Factory. They're working on it. We know they're working on it. They said it. We saw the hot staging, not the hot staging ring. We saw the Block 3 top dome with all the struts during the Starship presentation. That was not a mock-up. That was real. That was a real flight test article. Right? So we know that Block 3 is coming down that assembly line, and it's in SpaceX's best interest to get rid of all that Block 2 stuff, and you can't do that without Massey's operable. So you have to get Massey's operable, and you have to get it quick to, 1, maintain your flight rate, and 2, make sure your production lines don't end up having a bottleneck. Now, one could make the argument that Massey's being a single test stand test site is a bottleneck in itself. And that's why I also floated the other theory that they might end up building 2 pads. I don't think anyone can judge if or when Starship will make it to Mars. Yeah, Kinder, exactly. But saying it's not going to is ridiculous. Like, that stinks, Pilly Joe. I know, it's an old game. Okay, all right. Check that, just keeping up with the chats. You think there will be 2 test stands at Massey's? Why wouldn't there be, Jack, in the future? Why wouldn't you build another one? What, does SpaceX not have the land? They could build another one or build another test site somewhere else. I mean, what do they not have the money to buy more land? I would probably think, a multi-test stand complex would probably behoove them to do in the future, because technically Massey's is a multi-test stand right now. They had a stand for cryo testing and then a stand for firing. I'm saying probably double those things up, because if you're going to try to achieve the flight rate that SpaceX is going to have, 1 test stand is a production bottleneck. You're going to need a lot. You're going to need like 2 cryo test stands and two static fire stands. This is evidenced as with Ship 36, right? That doesn't make sense. I think technically they got solutions already. The solutions are coming down the production line, Bob. You know that. It takes a second to go from stamping all the way to final assembly. You know what I mean? Especially with a spaceship. It's a little more difficult than making a pickup truck, dude, right? Like, Not only that, but from a fiscal standpoint, it's cheaper to clean up and refurbish than to try and build a new one from the ground up. And quicker. But just going to say Massey's needs 2 test stands, right? It's pointless having 2 test stands at Massey's. Any second site would be separate. Another RUD will just take out the tank farm again, so no point in having 2 stands. When I disagree. I disagree very much. You know what took out those stands? The tidal wave of liquid oxygen is what killed the tank farm. Wasn't the explosion. The bits of Ship 36 falling on different components definitely didn't help, but it's that tidal wave of liquid oxygen from the LOX ballast tank exploding. That without that LOX tidal wave, Massey's is, if they had the same amount of liquid oxygen as liquid methane in there, the stand would be fine. So, okay, here's what I mean. Now let's think about this for a second. Okay, you have a 2-pad complex. Built 2 pads, so if one gets taken out, you can use the other one. What took out this stand? Well, what the most likely thing that's going to take out a stand is exactly what happened with SN3, SN4, Ship 36. That tidal wave of liquid oxygen is what's going to get you, right? That's what's going to get you. So, I don't know, maybe put your tank farm behind a berm in a redesigned complex? That would fix it. Have the LOX just go into the river. What is it? Oh, what is this somebody going to do? Scream about pollution? I mean, yeah, they would, but... Any updates on the crane incident? No, Moto. It's not pointless to have 2 stands. And putting a big berm of dirt around one of your test stands on either side so the LOX doesn't hit the tank farm is an easy and simple solution to make a 2-pad test stand and not have to worry about a RUD blowing up the stand. Do we know what caused it to explode? It looks like a COPV popped. COPV stress cracks and delamination can happen. COPVs are very, very, very delicate. Like, if it got bonked around in shipping, or somebody installed it wrong, or somebody dropped it, or something, that is, even though it looks fine on the outside, that's enough to break it. And I'm pretty sure that that's what happened here. Pretty sure it's just a bad COPV. It could have been a bad batch. It happens. You know? Just 10 years ago, even imagining what we see in your far right-hand looping video would have been ludicrous. So 10 years from now, it's going to be crazy. That's what I'm saying, Dabbledod, right? You got to take it's easy to doubt in the heat of the moment. You got to take a step back and look at what's being made. That's why I always say, look at the hardware, man. Look at what's being built. Look at this. Look at that. That's ridiculous. Like, can anyone, like, say, like, Can you say honestly, like how can you make the argument that SpaceX isn't gonna succeed, barring some like catastrophic civilization-ending event, right? Like they're gonna do it, man. They'll do it. Now what they do after that, I don't know. Like I said, it's easy to be a doubter. It's easy to be cynical about it. I'm not going to. I refuse. Heck, I'm even optimistic about NASA, and there's not a lot to be optimistic about here. Here, look at this. We'll move on. During a NASA town hall today, the workforce was told it probably would be at least 6 months before a new administrator was in place. The acting NASA administrator, Janet Petro, defended the White House cuts to the agency's science budget in response to a question about them. There's a lot of science that can be done with $4 billion. Yeah, but there could be more science done with $8 billion. Just put it out there. Just put it out there. Why does NASA always get the short end of the stick? I don't know. I don't know. When you'd like a second backup stand included in pads A rebuild in case of another rut at Massey's. I don't know. I think that's defensive thinking with hardware-rich iterative design. You can't really think like that with that. You got to kind of like the vehicle possibly exploding is always an expectation when you're doing things the way SpaceX is. And trying to influence your systems your GSC systems architecture to try and minimize that is kind of going against iterative design principle, in my opinion. Well, not in my opinion, that it is. Like, they will be including test stands at Slick 37. Yeah. So you do admit that they need more than one. Okay. Yeah, I'll concede that. Like I said, I'll concede it might not be at Massey's, but also, yeah. Yeah. NASA is easy to cut because it's too abstract for most people, especially Congress. It's not. You have to. I've said this once. I'll say it again. You want NASA to work correctly. You need a program that commingles. You need an overarching goal and program that depends on each other. That is impossible to get rid of because no one's going to vote to defund NASA in their own district. What they will do is vote to defund NASA in districts that they're not a part of. Like if you don't have a NASA design facility in your area, you'd be hard pressed to vote for or against. Well, you'd be hard pressed to vote for congressional spending going not to your district, right? So what's the solution here? Well, we did it 56 years ago. The solution, and it will require a little bit of spending in the meantime, which nobody wants to take that political risk, which, all right. You have to basically get everybody involved. You have to get everyone involved. If you don't have one overarching program that's going to use every NASA design facility, then you're pitting NASA design facilities against NASA. Then NASA is infighting instead of being a unified front for more funding. The infighting at NASA has frankly gotten ridiculous and out of control, especially in the last 15 years. Like, actually, even before that, when Constellation came around, the Constellation program came around, I remember reading stories about people working at NASA that were trying to undermine the program at NASA. The reason why is because they thought we should be going to Mars, not the moon, because we've already been there. So they undermined their own Constellation program and got the program canceled, and then we wound up with less. Like, that's stupid. Stop it. Stop doing that. It still happens to this day. Eric Berger talks about it all the time. If we had a gigantic space program centered around, like, I've said it so many freaking times, like to the point where I know you guys don't want to hear it, so I won't. Just work on a program that launches 40 SLSs over the next 10 years. 4 SLS launches a year. 2 long duration stays on the moon a year. Another SLS to deliver some kind of cargo, moon base equivalent. And then maybe another one to send deep space probes or something. Or just work on 4 medium duration missions to the moon for the next 10 years. That will give you enough infrastructure to have a moon base, to build up a big enough moon base that requires constant resupply. Boom! Enter Starship and Blue Origin. There has to be a justification for those programs to exist. That's a pretty damn good justification. A moon base, right? And then from there, you can, after 10 years, you know, SLS is a matured vehicle. You've bought the risk down. You've bought the cost down. Then start doing flyby missions. Mars flyby in the 2030s. Venus flyby in the 2030s. Then get to Mars by the end of the 2030s. Or maybe Starship is working by then. Maybe buy a couple of those. And use SLS to put up like a nuclear transfer stage and have Starship resupply and build the damn thing. I don't know. That gets everybody on board. As President Kennedy put it, that is the best way that's the best way to serve it, to organize and measure the best of our skills. He was right. He was right in 1962. Still right. Just saying. What would incentivize a senator or a governor? I don't know how the U.S. stuff is done to increase NASA's budget. Have NASA have a program that has to a senator. Well, so a senator. It's kind of the same thing, but on a statewide basis, right? So, like, I'll give you an example. Ted Cruz is a huge proponent of aerospace, whether you like that or not. I don't care. Really don't. He's a huge proponent, but he's a senator from Texas. But Johnson Space Center is in Texas. That's a huge NASA facility, you know, the home of NASA flight operations and astronaut training. That's kind of a big deal. It's in his best interest, if he wants to get reelected, to advocate for these facilities. And he does. He has his own special way of doing that, but he does. Awesome lockside test now on Starbase Live. Yeah, I see it up there. It's cool. If you get everybody working together, right, to achieve a goal, the funding should just happen. Now, don't get me wrong, you need a good NASA administrator that's a good salesman for all these projects, but that's the way you do it, man. You know, everybody throws around like military industrial complex and stuff. Bro, if you build it out big enough, you'll make a NASA industrial complex, and that'll never go away. We almost did it with Apollo. In fact, look at all the facilities that Apollo made that are still around today. One could make the argument that we did do that. Yeah, Sig, there you go. Just talking about Tom Cruise, I don't understand. Like, and that at the end of the day is the whole point of NASA. NASA is supposed to build out technology to get it mature enough to be able to transfer over to the commercial sector. They're supposed to be innovating in aerospace. How far do you think we are from a water test at Pad 2? Yeah, we're a little ways out. They look for the scaffolding to be taken off of the orbital launch mount. NASA requires long-term thinking. Congress has never been about thinking long-term, just about the next election cycle. Yeah, spoiled. Once again, easy opinion. That's a really easy point of view to take. What's SLS then? What's the space shuttle? Those don't seem like short-term plans to me. So there's a way it can be done. Why can't we just take this way and actually launch something? I've never really considered that a stretch, to be honest with you, considering we did it during the shuttle program. And with a vehicle that's arguably just as complicated as SLS is. I mean, got the engines back. That has a lot to do with it, but you get the idea. Because politicians don't care about science. Now, that's not true. They care about science because it brings money to their congressional district and gets them reelected. It's kind of a roundabout way, but they do. So what I think is the NASA administrator should try to get facilities in every state. Trey, you don't even need to start doing that. Right now, get the facilities that you have. Because the Apollo program left a pretty damn good foundation for doing pretty cool stuff. Unless it's your representative, then What he cares about is cloud. Ed Markey is a senator, Baron, not a representative. But yeah, he went and asked questions like that, and clearly somebody in the executive branch looked at that and said, that guy doesn't care. Okay, let's cut NASA. And guess what? Guess what that budget proposal has in it? It has a proposal to defund NASA facilities in Massachusetts. Gee, that's weird. Funny how that works. You had all the other people that said, you will protect this facility, right? Oh, yeah, well, yeah, all those facilities are still around. That's really strange. Weird. You say that Congress can do long-term, but just look at the infrastructure around the country. The interstate highway system is pretty good. That's a long-term project. It took them 50 years to finish it. Because, you know, it's a highway system that crosses an entire continent. What are you talking about? And now it's falling apart. Just in time to start over again. That's the whole point. Was pretty good. Man, dudes. You understand that what you're doing right now is what I said is not a good idea with like RE, like Angry Astronaut. You're doing exactly what he's doing. So what? The infrastructure, frigging fix it. But we sit here and it's crumbling. No, it's not. It's not.
Discovery.
Dude, I can get in my car and drive to California right now on pretty damn smooth roads, except for those roads in New Mexico. Those ones sucked. Right now. Like, right now, I could do that. I've done it on stream. What do you mean? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, dude? There's millions of dollars of tax revenue move on the interstate highway system every day. If it was junk, we wouldn't use it. If it was junk, you believe me, you'd hear about it. Hey, Brox, 78-month resub. Yeah, I-40 in Arizona is pretty bad. But if I'm remembering correctly, it's up to the states to keep that infrastructure in line. But check how much money X-37 got. I think I actually have, I don't know, all right, let's see. Wow. Jeez. Anyway, that you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to say that I kind of set you guys up for that one, but I kind of did, and I apologize that I'm not trying to make it like that. But yeah, the interstate highway system is excellent. Just because it's not new doesn't mean it's bad. Could we maintain it a little bit better? Sure, absolutely. But what, you're gonna just sit there and like, oh, it's crumbling. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Like, I don't know, man. I just don't find that a healthy way of thinking about things. That's where you're going with your statement. There's so many people out there that ride the coattails of past achievement and think that they no longer need to invest in... Yeah. Thousands of people posted about the USA having landed on the moon. Yeah, even I'm getting to the point of that I'm sick of bringing it up. We did that 56 years ago. Yeah, the whole heat shield thing just pisses me off. But yeah, that's what I mean, dude. Like, you know, everybody's sitting there and pretend like everybody's just sitting there and saying, "Oh, it's crumbling, it's crumbling." No one's doing anything about it. Do something about it. But I'll be honest with you, my theory is that people do something about it. You just don't see it because nobody complains about it. Nobody says anything about a smooth road. Think about it. No one says anything about a smooth road. If the road is working as intended, you're not going to say, "Wow, this is a nice smooth road." But if there's potholes in it, you're more likely to complain about it. Right? 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 When's the last time you heard somebody say, "Oh, they redid that road? That's perfect. It's a great road. It's nice and smooth. It's excellent." When's the last time you heard somebody bitch about potholes? I've seen like 20 people in chat do it since this conversation started. You know what I don't like? We don't have high-speed trains. Morocco, Africa has high-speed trains. Okay, you build a federal high-speed transit program, okay? Why? Baron, here's the thing. I love trains. You guys know I like trains. Why? Why would we build a high-speed rail that goes from Washington, D.C. to like San Francisco? Why would we do that? We have this thing that we invented that's better than a train. The thing that flies with the engines. High-speed rail only works in small applications. I'm sorry, like people are going to be like, no. If that was the case, Europe wouldn't have any freaking airports. But they do have airports. But they also have trains, and that's great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd like more trains. That'd be fantastic, dude. Right? That'd be fantastic. But there's this thing that we invented that's better than a train. You know what I mean? And we make a lot of them. Remember when we were looking at the boneyard the other day? We make a lot of those things. Why would we use a train? Why? Now, once again, in smaller applications, like high-speed rail would be really useful in smaller populated areas. So how about high-speed rail in Texas from like Dallas to San Antonio or Dallas to Houston? Now we're talking. High-speed rail in the Northeast. Now, our high-speed rail is a freaking joke, right? But it only works in populated areas. I've always said that high-speed rail only works where it can get you there faster than a plane. And there's a finite amount of distance that makes sense. I've been to Italy and rail works there because it's the size of Florida. And Florida has high-speed rail. Weird, huh? Dude, even if we had high-speed rail that goes the fastest in the world, we're talking about building the fastest train, a train that can go 400 miles an hour, maglev, high-speed rail that goes from like New York City to Los Angeles, crosses the damn continental divide. I don't know how we would do that, but just play off this conditional hypothetical. The fastest train that can go like 350, maybe 400 miles an hour. It's still slower than an airplane. Over a distance that far, 5,000 kilometers, 3,000 miles, it's still not faster than an airplane. We should put it in a tunnel. Oh, and bring the tunnel down to vacuum. High-speed rail between a city and an airport. Good idea. High-speed rail between states, not so much. Bingo. Bingo. That's why we don't have a high-speed rail system. We don't need it. We have a better way to do things. It's called an airplane. And I'm saying that as somebody that loves trains. I love trains. Trains are amazing. We have a partial vacuum tunnel. It's already available. It's 40,000 feet that way. Exactly, man. The I-5 corridor is ripe for high-speed rail. Oh, you'll get no argument from me, Aqualex. How about we get some high-speed rail that goes from like Vancouver in Canada to Seattle to Portland? That would be excellent. That would be great. I don't even live there. Heck, you could even make the argument that it would be good to go from Portland to San Fran and then from there down to Los Angeles. That would be a great idea. We should do that. They're trying to. I don't think they're getting very far. Only works where you have existing commuter population between cities. Highways and planes are overbooked or too expensive. New York to DC kind of thing. Now, see, that's high-speed rail that I can get behind. But a national network, the interesting thing, guys, is that you could make that same argument for the highway system. Why would you drive a car from New York to Los Angeles when you could take an airplane? Well, there's case circumstances, right? Like, but, you know, the highway system has its benefits. You know, no one's going to take a bus like that. I mean, could. People do, right? Nobody's going to take a bus across the entire country, right? But if you're shipping non-perishable goods, then it makes perfect sense. The decentralized distribution of a semi-truck coupled with the highway system makes for a very potent economic driver. East Coast to Chicago. I've seen people propose that idea, Redbeard. A high-speed rail network that goes from like Boston to New York City to Baltimore, to Philly, to Baltimore, to DC, and then up to like Detroit, right? Or like up to Pittsburgh to Detroit, and then over to Chicago, and then from Detroit it goes to Toronto, and then like down around back to Boston. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. I sent you a message on Discord. You mean the one that you DM'd me 2 seconds ago? Huh. No, it's not the one you DM'd me. All right. That's pretty cool, 12. Delete those messages, dude. I'm going to tell you right now, delete that message. That's cool. Those pictures are sweet, but I don't see that, man. Rail is better than flying only up to 250 miles. Bingo. Exactly. It's not rocket science, man. We have a thing that's better, that can do that better. We invented it 122 years ago. Pretty good. JD Vance memes. Say you're sorry, Soapbox. You forgot to say please. That's more or less exactly what you had in mind. Yeah, like if someone wanted to make the argument for that, I'd be okay with that. That'd be cool. Right? But just remember, decentralized transportation has its benefits as well. Centralized transportation makes more sense in populated areas. But when you get out west, when you get out to like Colorado, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, why would you have high-speed rail there? That makes no sense. There's nothing out there. There's farms. And farms, how do farms benefit? Decentralized transportation. Right? You're not making a train line that goes to every single person's farm. Right? Trucks move farm yields to trains or to wherever they're going. Believe me, guys, I had a lot of time to think about this. I think this is a good rundown of routes. Now, yeah, no, this is good. I don't mind this. This is pretty good. I mean, hey, wait a minute. I'm not a part of that. That's dumb. What the heck is this? What is this? Who wants to go from New York to DC? What the hell is that? No, this idea sucks. Never mind. Screw that. A lot of methane and liquid oxygen and water deliveries for the launch site at Starbase. I'm really kind of wondering if they're going to send it. Those are deliveries that would have been there in anticipation of Flight 10. They're not going to cancel all the deliveries, team, man. It's better to have the pad filled up. If they make a new X-37, do you think they'll update a demonstrator? 1 billion for the program. They better build more, May. Let me put it that way. Where's OKC? Don't know. I don't know. I don't think they even know where it is. I've been to OKC. It's in the middle of nowhere. The city is in the middle of nowhere, ironically. Not saying it's bad. It's just in the middle of nowhere. You know it's true. I mean, either that or we could just say frick it and stop being doubters, right? Like, and just build the whole damn high-speed rail system. Like, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with that. No one's going to take the train across the entire country except for a novelty purpose, right? But it's like, why shouldn't we have that, right? Like, I suppose I get it, but the airplane is, you're not going to replace the airplane. The airplane's pretty damn good at what it does. What do you think they're doing with X-37 missions? Stuff. If it existed and was half as much as flying for half the time of driving, I'd do it. I don't know, Laz. I don't know what they need $1 billion for, except if they're going to build more of these things. Nice, admin. Replace all the highways with high-speed rail and use point-to-point for anything overseas. Genius. No. See, okay, guys, just in case anybody's wondering, like, I don't hate trains. I don't hate trains. I love trains. Trains are awesome. You really want to know how I look at this thing? Guess what? Here comes the optimistic thing. I want all of it. Yeah, I want all of that. Like, on one hand, I understand why like I just told you, I made a pretty good argument for not building high-speed rail across the entire country. I get it. But on the other hand, why shouldn't we have high-speed rail to get you from New York to Los Angeles? Why shouldn't we have that? I can understand that. Absolutely. Why shouldn't we have that? What, we can't do it? Well, we can't do it? We built train tracks across the entire country when there was no infrastructure out there. Okay, hear me out. Another bigger X-37 people can go on. There is the X-37C variant, Oculus. Just saying. Right? Why can't we? Slower and more expensive. What's the advantage? National pride would be your advantage there. We did it with highways. Just saying. Faults is why in maintenance costs. Yeah, sure. Okay, privatize it. Let's be real, can't see me. No one has the balls to do that. And therein lies your problem. Is high-speed rail relevant for freight transport? No. And Snake, I'll tell you what, we have a damn good freight network. You can get anything, anywhere in this country on a train. It's almost as dexterous as a truck. No sarcasm this time. High-speed rail on the moon or Mars? Mars. Actually, the moon would be pretty good. Can't see me. That'd be pretty sweet. I'll note, rail maintenance overall costs less than highway maintenance. Highway maintenance sees way more traffic, though. That's a bandwidth thing, Oculus. Is it not? Why do I want pizza at 2 a.m.? Because you're Italian, Padojo. I want pizza all the damn time. I could eat a huge pizza right now. Give me a Neapolitan pizza right now. I'll eat the whole damn thing. Sorry, guys. I just, Forgive me, I think I had a little bit of heat exhaustion when I was in the garage a little bit earlier today. But also at the same time, I'm just sick of everybody saying no to things. You know? Oh, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. We can't do that. Shut up. I'm so sick of it. It's so boring, dude. It's so easy. You know? It's frustrating. Oh, no, no. Okay. Oh, no. Starship, SpaceX, I know. So SpaceX will never be able to get Starship to land on Mars. They'll never be able to do it. I know. Like, shut up. Just shut up. Just stop talking. Therein lies that mentality problem that I keep telling you guys about. Like, you gotta want to do it. And wanting to do it starts with not doubting that you can do it or not. You know what I mean? This applies to the space program. Very much so. Yeah, Neonix, it's very tiring. Sorry, I see it a lot, and it wears on me, dudes, because I'm just so freaking tired of it. Can't do this, we can't do that. I'm like, you have nachos for dinner. Nice. Now I'm hungry. So check this out. A little bit more space news, and then we'll switch to summer car. The greatest enemy to change is cynicism about what can be changed. Yeah, that's true. Did the Apollo program say it's impossible to put a man on the moon in 9 years? No, they said they're going to do it. That's right. That's what I'm trying to say, man. Like, you guys want a bigger space program. You guys want us to do that crazy stuff. Do what SpaceX is doing. We got to want it. You'll offer pizza to all of us? You gotta want it. I want it. I've been trying to tell people this for 10 years. Have you submitted your space selfie to Mark Rober's CubeSat? No, I have no interest in doing that, Wreck Rob. I'd rather somebody else do it. You guys should do it. Yeah, exactly. You know? Yeah, Starship will land on Mars. It'll do it. It'll do it. It'll land on the moon, too. When? Yeah, that's the answer. That's another whole question for another day, but it'll do it. It'll do it. Barring, like, some civilization-ending event, like another Chicxulub or something, they'll get it. Look at the hardware. You'd be crazy to think that they won't. Respond to rule number 7. Doyle rules. Well, Doyle, I got a feeling your whole family's going down. But now I gotta study. And in how many pieces? 1. Friend. Take that kappa, shove it right up your chosen one! Say Starship won't land on Mars for millions of years, so it ends up landing on Mars in 9 weeks. Didn't you say that already, Block, or is it just the heat stroke that's getting to me? Stop looking at me, Swan. Alright, well, that space news kind of sucked. That was just me bitching about how everybody bitches about everything. I don't know. It seemed pertinent. He called it poop. It was entertaining as always. All right. Summer car. Let's do it. Part 3. Let's go. You guys know the drill. I'm gonna jog the VOD, jog the YouTube VOD, and go from there. Stand by for loss of signal on the YouTube side as expected. Twitch, give me a couple minutes to get the racing rig out. I'll be right back. It's still hot in here, by the way. Be back in a second.
Shut